the weekend, Saturday. So I want you to just tell me your honest views about what you think of each fight and each fighter. So we're gonna start with Shannon Courtney.
Shannon Courtney.
What do you think
Seems
about?
like a seems like a very good talent. Obviously, the fact that Adam Booth's taken her on shows that he clearly thinks the same. I mean, it's very hard to tell at the moment how good she is because the kind of opponent she's been put in with, last minute dropouts and what have you. But she's, from what I've seen, exciting. She got the look, so she's marketable. And doing everything she really needs to be doing at this stage. But I don't think we're gonna really know the true extent of how good she is until probably latter part of next year at the earliest, I'd say. Yeah, because she's not going to get tested this weekend. Well, I can't see it anyway. Can you?
Well, yeah, I don't think so. Definitely not. She's probably meant to match to fight again before the end of the year, so they're not gonna give her.
I mean, I've heard of a date in a York Hall date in December. I mean, who knows if that's true or not? But rumours flying about. So certainly, yeah, she's going to be back out again quickly.
The only thing about female boxing is that the journeywomen are not very good.
They're terrible. Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, journeymen are bad, but the women's are even like obviously it's very hard to find women like there's not that many. There's far few between.
Yeah, exactly. So, for her to get up to that level, you don't really know.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, I mean, say Katie Taylor in her last fight, she looked unbeatable.
Yeah.
And then she was put up against some, what was that?
The Pearson.
Something like that.
Defin Pearson. Yeah.
And suddenly, she was in a proper fight.
Yeah.
Which personally I thought she lost. So it's hard to tell, but yeah, it'll be a win for Courtney this Saturday, definitely.
Going down the guy that's going to headline. I mean, not headline. Start the show for 7 o'clock. Is Conor Benn. What do you think about his fight or the fight that's going on? Yeah.
And it's the same in the fact that is it another new opponent?
Yeah, there's another one.
Another new opponent. I'd expect that fight to be over within 2 rounds, probably a left hook. He's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe he gets a little bit unfairly criticised because what happened with the French fighter, but people forget how young he is. We'll see. But you know what, I like Conor Benn because he's game as anything.
Yeah.
And people that like fighting, like boxing, you get some that really like the boxing side of things, and some people that like the knockouts. And I haven't seen Conor Benn in a bad fight.
And one thing people underestimate is his power. He's got good power.
Oh.
If he didn't have that power, he would have definitely lost that fight. He had to knock.
You had to have that recovery power. That to be able to know that you're behind, but if you can land that punch, you're going to do the damage. And he's definitely got that. I mean, what's the God? I've got a brain block. The person Adam Booth trains, which he keeps calling out.
Oh, Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly, yeah. Sorry, Josh Kelly rather. I think he might even give Josh Kelly trouble because Josh Kelly, for however good he is technically, he doesn't seem to have a huge amount of power, and I'm not sure his style is massively built for the professional game at the moment. Whereas Conor Benn, I think if he touches anybody's chin with that left hand, he's got the power. But it's same with Courtney. Until he stepped up the levels, we won't know. And I think it's about time soon that he starts really going up the British route. Let's try, let's get him some belts and let's try and step it up the levels a little bit.
We've got a title fight, European title. Yves Ngabu, the champion, defending it against the home fighter, Lawrence Okolie. What do you know much about Yves Ngabu?
I don't, to be honest. I don't. Give me a little break. Give me a little breakdown.
Well, it's pretty not. There's a couple of videos here, but he hasn't fought in a stage like this before.
Is he?
I mean,
is he a lot like most people Okolie fights, where Okolie is so much bigger and longer? Is he?
Yeah, he's obviously strong, but we don't know how strong he is. We don't know how he's going to feel when he feels that right hand. So, but what do you think of Lawrence Okolie so far?
I rate Lawrence Okolie. I mean, it's hard to kind of compliment. He has such a, I don't know, it's quite an awkward style to watch, but it's brutal. You know, the right hand is, you know, they just can't deal with it, can they? But I would like him to clinch less. I would like him to be able to use his jab more. I feel like he jumps into his punches a little bit too much. But in terms of Saturday, I think you know, he'll knock him out easily. It's a case of whether he can make those improvements to get to the top of that division.
Yeah.
I think to get to fringe, just below the top people, he's pretty much there already, in my opinion. But I would like to, you know, for you to have that size advantage and that power, I'd like him to add a little bit more to his game. But he's still learning, isn't he?
Yeah. What I like is both fighters have got good trainers, Dominic Ingove and Shane McGuigan. So it's going to be a nice tactical thing. And like I said, all you have to do is look at the size. So you have to see for Ngabu to, if he's ever going to win that fight, he's going to obviously have to get close and see if he could walk through those long levers. And when you get close, you're going to be able to keep that enough distance not to get smothered by Lawrence Okolie, because when you get past that levers, Okolie's got a way of just smothering you and holding you, so it negates negates you working.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
but you know, you made a very good point there. You know, in terms of Dominic Ingle. You know, footwork. The footwork which comes out of that gym could potentially cause Lawrence issues. But I think he needs those kind of issues, because so far it's just been a case of him bowling people over and roughing them up. I mean, the Chamberlain fight was a bit of a snooze fest, but he did what he needed to do. He needs somebody which is gonna, you know, bring something different. But I think he's more than capable of overcoming it. I just want to see it. Although maybe that is a little bit unfair, because he stepped up the levels very quickly. But I think when you're stepping up the levels that quickly and you are just knocking people out.
Well, when he stepped up, he hasn't knocked them out. I still feel he's still like he's moving too fast, personally.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because I think so, because even though he could beat these guys, I mean, if you take this time and like just move up a little bit slower, you'll probably win in better fashion.
Definitely.
You could feel the anxiety of, I'm in a big fight. Yeah, I'm not experienced enough, but I've got the physical attribute to beat them.
He's just going directly to that straight away.
He's just going straight to his physical attributes to win the fights. But let's go.
Also, the other thing with that is, once you step up the levels, you can't go back.
Back down. Yeah.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Moving down a little bit, going down the lightweights. It's going to be whoever wins this could move on a little bit further. Whoever finishes, I don't see any way of them getting out of it. But you never know with Edeon. He always finds a way to help his fighters. Ricky Bonds against Lee Selby. How do you see that fight? Or do you like that fight?
I like that fight from Selby's point of view. Obviously, Scottish blood, a lot of respect for Ricky Burns, and maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I get the feeling, he is past his well past his best, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure how good he'll be. This weekend. Selby, how would he be at the new weight? He's always relied on his boxing, but will he carry more power? With his footwork, will it have an effect on his, his style? But for me, I would expect this to be Selby's sort of breakout fight within that new weight division. In terms of this, how it's going to go down, I don't think Selby will carry the power to knock him out. Maybe the ref stepping in potentially, or a good unanimous decision. But on the other side of the coin, where Ricky likes to smother people and rough them up on the ropes, and is a very, very tough man. How is Selby going to take? How's he going to take those punches? So I'll sway massively towards Selby, but who knows? I don't know.
Decision, you reckon?
I reckon race likely.
Well, he's never been stopped. He's fought the likes of Terence Crawford. And
exactly.
Okay. Not many people really know much about this Regis Prograis sort of guy.
No.
How do you see? I mean, what is a close fight in some bookies even have him a slightly
They're
favourite.
everyone's favourite, even
Yeah.
in the UK. And obviously, betting is down to how the the public is voting. So for the British public to be voting, but not voting, putting their bets down on Progress just goes to show. I mean, me personally, I don't know enough about him. I mean, I know he's very slick. He carries a lot of power. He's knocked out various fighters. I mean, who was the who did he knock out from the UK?
He didn't knock out.
Sure.
He stopped in Dongo, but he dropped Flanagan.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry, he dropped Flanagan. Yeah. I remember seeing his power there. All I've heard is good things, but I can't really give a full breakdown on what I think how good why I think he's good. But he's certainly, from what I hear, he's the next big breakout fighter from America. But on the other side of the coin, I'm a massive Josh Taylor fan. He's very good on the inside, very good on the outside. In fact, very good. I think he's world class. He's at home. He's bigger. He's longer. I mean, I can't give a true prediction on the fight because I actually think it's going to be very, very close. One thing I will say about Taylor, within his last fight, he got drawn into a fight too much. Now, will that play into Progress' hands in terms of Taylor isn't using his length? So I think it's going to be a very close fight. If you ask me now, I mean, it's a bit of a blind kind of bet because I don't know enough about Progress to give an honest assessment. But I do think Josh will do it. But I think it will be a tough fight. I think most likely it will be a points decision. But yeah, what a fight! What a fight!
Beautiful.
And as a Scottish bloodline to genuinely have like potentially one of the top fighters in the world. He's beaten some good names. Obviously the amateur credentials as well. It's good for British boxing, but we shall see.
I did go to see Prograis train a little bit at the Peacock's gym, and he just seemed very relaxed, very, very relaxed. Him and his trainer, so they're extremely confident. And when I went to see Josh Taylor, he was extremely confident. So we're in for a blinder, hopefully fight of the year contender as well.
What I want to say about Progress as well, I love the way the guys come here early, like the way he's going to like the Hackney Youth Centre, youth charity, whatever it was. The way he seems like a cool guy. I rate him. He's picked up a lot of fans from this country. So bring on Saturday, and it's nice to have it's very rare for you to have a main event where if you said you thought Taylor would win and I thought the other way, there isn't really much argument there. There's an argument for both sides, which is good. Yeah, that's good. Bring it on.
The fight, maybe some people might have seen should have been the main event or not, but the heavyweights, Mr. No Vaseline, Dereck Chisora against David Price. Tell me how you see this fight.
It's a tough one. I mean, your initial reaction would be the pressure from Dell will be too much for Price. I think Price, whether it be physically or mentally, tends to gas after X amount of rounds, especially when he's under pressure. Yes, he destroyed Dave Allen with the jab, but let's think about the fights before in terms of Cash Ali, for example. I know he was bitten and what have you, but before that, he was the pressure was getting to him slightly. So you've got one side of it where you think that Dell will just be too much for him. He'll smother him, he'll break him down, and then he'll stop him. But the other part of me is thinking, Dell. There has been times where Dell has had problems walking into people's jabs. I know his head movement's got better over the last couple of years, since he's been with David Hay, where he's slimmed down, but he is naturally a lot shorter. And can he get inside without getting too much damage? And there is the argument that jab and that right hand will cause damage for Dereck. So I can see Price knocking out Dereck, but my money's on Delboy. I think he's too tough. I think he's too mentally strong. I think he's on a good run, and for all the good attributes David Price has most of the time, well, every single time he stepped up, the pressure's got to him. Add to the equation how much time. Like, yes, he says he's in camp, but when you haven't got a date in place, you're not fully in camp, are you? You're not like intense camp. I'm not sure he's going to be ready. I don't think he'll be ready enough. So, I think it'll be a very good fight. Though I'm not as disappointed as other people are. I actually think it's going to be a.
So do I. I prefer to Parker from because it's like a
British showdown.
British showdown, and it's a fight that could have happened like a few years back, and
Definitely, and I think it's a real kind of clash of styles. You know, you've got one which is very long, but 1-2 is brutal. I mean, it's arguably Price's right hand is up there with the most powerful in the game, but then you've got in terms of pressure fighter, just pure grit. Like just work rate, just breaks them down, overhand rights, etc. Dereck. So it's like a real clash of styles, and which one's going to be the more effective? It's a little bit like the main event. I don't actually know who's going to win that because I think too many people are writing Price off completely. You can't write Price off completely.
Do you think Dereck is overlooking David Price a little bit, talking about possible fight with Alexander Usyk?
No, I think Del Boy is just a very good businessman. I think Del Boy is just planting that seed for the future. I don't think he's naive enough to be looking past David Price.
How do you see that fight if that ever happens? Dereck against Usyk.
I think Usyk will score him, bruv.
Okay.
Look, Dereck could well smother him, and is a lot bigger, etc., etc. But foot movement, Dereck struggles with people which are not in front of him. Not always, but I just think his foot movement and the Usyk we saw the other day, people have gone well overboard with that performance, well overboard. Did you not see how much he was not using his right hand?
His left hand.
His left hand, bruv. Like people are getting well carried away with that. So I personally think that it would be a little bit too much for Dereck. But on the other side of the coin, maybe Dereck might be able to, maybe he might be able to be too much for him. Maybe the size is too much. Maybe, Usyk's never fought anybody like Del Boy before in terms of size, obviously. Yeah. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
He's your boy. So,
well, I'm not going to say about that, but I'm just going to talk about Usyk's last fight against Weatherspoons. He didn't really throw a powerful straight left. More of the shots was on the left, and if you look down his Instagram page while he was training, you could see his left hand being tapered up.
I didn't notice.
So he was definitely handicapped going into that fight. A fully fit thing would have been more dangerous, the guy gave up. He didn't come out in the 8th round. If Belly was tired before he got knocked out, so the same thing could have happened to the guy if he had come out. While
Belly was
arguably
winning. Yeah, but then he gassed, and we all saw what happened.
Yeah, but thanks for your preview. Pleasure. I'm going to be coming a little bit more.
Definitely.
We talk about thing. 10 days later after this, we're going to have a new way against Donaire. We'll come back and talk about that.
On that. my favourite puncher, bro.
Oh, God, I love that guy, man. The way he is.
For you, pound for pound, hardest puncher.
I would say with both hands. Yeah, one punch with one right hand, Wilder. But both for different sort of thing, body, head thing, it's gonna be a new way for me.
My guy.
Yeah.
Respect.
Uncle T, signing out.